This is Chris Howard with Howard Law, and I'm here with Jared Mitnick from Mitnick & Associates, and we're here today at Cutter's Cigar Emporium here in Alpharetta, Georgia. And today we're here to talk to you about the field sobriety evaluation known as the walk and turn evaluation. This is what most people refer to as the walk in a straight line evaluation. And if you talk to a lot of people, they say, oh, you know, I can walk in a straight line, I'm sober, I can walk in a straight line. Well, that test has a lot more to do with following instructions than actually walking in a straight line, and it is part of it. So we have Jared here today. He's our local field sobriety expert. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what those instructions are, what the police are really looking for when they conduct one of those tests. So Jared, I know there's a series of instructions they give with the walk and turn test, and I know you probably know word for word what the police say when they give that test. What are they looking for in that test? You know, what sort of clues and how many are they looking for you to fulfill?
With each of the field sobriety tests, there are specific clues that the officers are trained to look for, but also they're trained just generally to be evaluating your performance, your demeanor, and whether or not you appear to be impaired. But with the walk and turn are 8 specific clues that they are trained to look for while evaluating you.
And what exactly are the clues or the indicators that they look for when they make that test, and how many clues do you have to fail in order to fail that test?
Sure. So again, the evaluations, the officers are trained, these are not pass-fail evaluations. They're simply evaluations they want you to perform so they can observe you and evaluate you and make a determination on whether or not to arrest and charge for DUI. That being said, their manual trains them that if you have 4 clues on the walk and turn, that there's a presumption that you are in fact impaired by drugs or alcohol.
And when we talk about that test, the clues that we see are remaining in the instructional stance, how you place your feet when you're taking the actual steps, do you walk in a straight line or keep your feet on that imaginary line that they give you, how you make the turn at the end of that test, and keeping your hands down by your sides. What else is there?
They also want to make sure that you're counting your steps aloud as you take them, and they want to make sure that once you begin the evaluation that you don't stop, and that you make sure that you make contact heel to toe on each and every step.
What we're going to do is we're going to go outside next, and we're going to show you what some of the common pitfalls look like that most people think are not even part of the test, and then we're going to show you how to properly do the walk and turn test in the event that you're pulled over and completing a field sobriety evaluation.
All right, so here we are outside Cutter's Cigars and Spirits in Alpharetta, and we're going to demonstrate first some of the classic pitfalls in the walk and turn evaluation, and then you're going to see my associate, Mr. Howard, go through and properly perform the field sobriety test of the walk and turn. And so one of the very first pitfalls in this evaluation is that people don't realize the evaluation has actually begun, and that's because it's broken down into 2 phases. The first phase is the instructional phase, followed by the performance phase. And so during the instructional phase, the officer is going to instruct you to stand in a very specific position, the position that Mr. Howard is standing in right now. And so they're going to tell you to take this position with one foot directly in front of the other and to maintain that position while listening to the instructions. And they're going to tell you that once they're done with the instructions, the evaluation is going to begin. That being said, if Mr. Howard returns his feet to the classic side-by-side stance while he's listening to these evaluations, or if he starts taking steps during the instructions for the evaluation, he's already got a strike against him. And that's because the evaluation has actually begun once he takes that instructional stance. And so many people have a very difficult time staying with one foot in front of the other while they listen to the lengthy instructions for this evaluation, because it's quite uncomfortable. And they say in their mind, the evaluation hasn't begun yet, so I'm just going to stand comfortably like this while I listen to the instructions. Other pitfalls for this evaluation are once the performance phase begins, they fail to touch their heel to toe on each of the steps. Many people believe that this is a test of walking in a straight line and that's it. That is a very small part, as we discussed inside of Cutters. What the officers are looking for is, do you touch heel to toe? The next pitfall is stepping offline. As you can see, There is no actual line in this parking lot. And in fact, in most DUI cases, there's not going to be an actual physical line you're walking on. It's an imaginary line. And so people have a very difficult time walking exactly down that line when they're not focused on an actual demarcation that they're supposed to be stepping on. And so many times they will step not exactly heel to toe. Another pitfall, and the most common of all pitfalls, is the way in which the turn is executed at the end of the first 9 steps. There are very specific and detailed instructions that you'll see in a moment when we do the proper performance of the field sobriety test, but those instructions include how to actually execute the turn. Most people, when they get to the end of the first 9 steps, want to take a standard turn the way you would think about if you're walking down a hallway and turn around and come back. That, however, is not the way that you're to perform the turn in this evaluation. The last thing that you need to keep in mind during this evaluation is that you're going to be instructed to keep your hands down by your side and to count out loud during the evaluation. Most people, as they're walking this straight line, put their hands up for balance because, again, they're so focused solely on walking in a direct line. They fail to remember to keep their hands down by their side at all times. That right there is a strike against them.
And Jared, will they remind you to keep your hands down by your side if you begin the test with them up?
No, once the instructions are given and the first step is taken, you're not going to get any further instruction, help, guidance, or anything from the officer.
And if you forget to count out loud, they're not going to tell you that either.
Nope, and if you stop to ask them any questions during the evaluation, that's certainly going to be held against you.
All right, so now we're going to show you the proper way to do the walk and turn field sobriety evaluation test from the point of view of someone taking the test. Today, Jared is going to be my police officer giving me instructions, and I'm going to make sure I follow them and do everything from the right foot position, my hands by my side, counting out loud, and we're even going to show you that particular and very specific turn that's required at the end of the test that most people don't even understand unless they're shown it by someone. And so Jared, I'm ready to begin when you are.
All right, Mr. Howard, I'm going to give you instructions on how to perform this evaluation, but while I give you those instructions, I need you to remain in the instructional stance. And so what I need you to do is imagine a straight line out in front of your left foot right now. I need you to take your right foot and place it heel to toe in front of your left foot on that line. I need you to keep your hands down by your side and stay in this position while I give you the rest of the instructions. Once the evaluation begins, you're going to take a series of 9 heel-to-toe steps down that imaginary line. When you get to the end of the 9th step, I need you to keep your lead foot planted and execute a series of small steps around that lead foot and turn around and go back 9 heel-to-toe steps, ending where you began the evaluation. Now, once you begin the evaluation, I need you to keep your hands down by your side, I need you to keep your eyes on your feet, and I need you to count your steps aloud. Once you begin the evaluation, do not stop until you've completed it. Do you understand the instructions as I've given them to you?
I understand.
All right, when you're ready, sir, you can begin the evaluation.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now begins that particular turn I'm telling you about, which is the small steps. I'll take my right foot, put it here, and begin making small steps as I rotate on my left foot. This is not a fast swivel, but a series of small steps as stated in the instructions. Then I'm going to take my right foot, place it back in front of my left foot, and then begin counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now that you've seen how the test is properly done, maybe you've tried it at home or made some attempts and realized just how difficult it can be to do even when you're sober, haven't had a drink. And that's something you should consider the next time you or someone you know is asked to conduct one of these tests. Is that worth even doing it all? And Jared, you can answer this. Do you have to take those tests?
Absolutely not. You are not required to take those evaluations at any time.
And unlike the breathalyzer or blood test, there is no statutory punishment for not taking these tests. They can't suspend your license because you choose not to do a walk and turn test. And so I hope you do consider that when you are encountering a situation such as this. And again, thank you for watching. You can find me at cghowardlaw.com or howardlaw.org. And Jared, where can people find you?
You can find me at mitnicklawfirm.com. That's MITNICK, or 770-408-7000.